Hey guys, it's Cece from the K-Pop Bible. Welcome to our double episode dedicated to KATSEYE. This is part 2, so if you haven't listened to part 1, make sure to check out episode 5. In the 6th episode of the K-Pop Bible, we'll discuss our thoughts about their debut stage and recent performances in various South Korean music shows. Manon fans, I know you're listening. Don't cancel us yet. Lee, take it away.
So first we're going to do the pre-show ranking. So this is how I think they did based on their social media pre-getting into their training program to during the training program. Obviously, vocal ranking, I put first Nayeon, second Laura, third Ilya, fourth Sophia, fifth Samaya, sixth Adela, seventh Cardi, eighth Brooklyn. Dance rankings are Emily first, Daniela second, Adela third, Megan fourth, Yoonchae fifth, sixth Samaya, seventh Ezrella, and eighth Yuat. Stage presence star quality, Manon, Lexi, Laura, Marquis, Daniela, Megan, Sophia, Nayeon. How do you guys feel about that ranking I made?
I think the only one I would touch on is the stage presence star quality. I would definitely put, for me, Lara's number 1, Manon 2, Lexi 3.
Okay.
I agree.
And then how do we feel about dance and vocals? Are we happy with those?
Pretty much.
So mission 1, we're first going to get into vocals. So first, which was I'm Still Into You, I put Nayeon first. Nayeon was clearly the best vocalist. Just it started with that small moment of vocal pride and how she slid into the note. Just beautiful. She understands textures and tones. And versus like Sophia and Laura, the moments that Nayeon did pop and how she would hold down the harmonies, just amazing. Second, Laura, that moment that she was harmonizing with Nayeon was just stunning to me. Also, I just love that Laura is able to project as a star but still fit in like an ensemble. She really, even standing there, your eyes went to her, but she didn't really overpower the rest of the girls. I think that was a plus. Third, Samara. I think Samara has such a beautiful, warm, comforting voice. She doesn't sing with all the weight. That really works with the arrangement of it. I love that run that she did at the end. I think that was so just amazing. Fourth was Sophia. I personally don't like how Sophia performed the song in terms of she's a musical theater girl, so she sometimes can overperform because she opens a song. We see how she does it, but then we see Samara, how she's just able to be settled, looking in the camera and really serve a moment. Celeste was fifth. Celeste didn't do bad overall amongst the vocal rankings, but I think Celeste, she has such a high-pitched voice, and so unfortunately, it's hard for her to blend, but overall, she did a really good job. I think she didn't really have a lot of standout moments, but it was fine. So the second group, which was a mashup of Dancing on My Own and Happier Than Ever. Again, Brooklyn, she carried it. She was pretty much all the standout parts for someone that was not really on everyone's radar. I think Brooklyn really stepped it up. I would rank her a lot higher in the voting polls, but she did really good. Ilya, I really liked Ilya. She really held down the harmony. I liked her tone when she started the song. I think Ilya was in a position where I would have swapped her out and put her in I'm Still Into You, because she stands out because she's more agile in her vocal style, because that riff that she did was so good. But again, I think Ilya did a really good job. She held down the harmonies. Third was Cardi. Again, Cardi did some creative choices that I wasn't a really big fan of with the song, but overall, it was still good. It was still controlled. It wasn't, distracting. I just think some of the creative choices didn't really work with the song. Lexi didn't really have a lot of parts, so it's really hard for me to judge Lexi, but I think Lexi did fine. Her pitch was fine. She did what she needed to do. Manon was, I think, she's fifth. Manon was kind of the worst here. There was not really a lot of vocal support. There wasn't really a lot of projection. It was a little choppy, a little unstable. That's who I would have eliminated. And then we have the dance performances. We have first, Oh My God, or OMG. That was Emily, Marquis, Yoonchae, Ezrella, and Min. I thought Yoonchae did such a great job. Yoonchae performed the hell out of it. Second would be Marquis. She was the center. She really held down the song. I love how she started it. I think she has really good stage presence, really good eye contact. Third would be Emily. Emily is a really good dancer, but Emily gives very like backup dancer to me. Like it's something about how she doesn't stand out when she's in the center as much as I would want her to. Azrella, really pretty job. Again, it was same thing as Emily, where I felt like she didn't stand out when she was in the center as much as I need her to. May, I think May did nice, but again, May wasn't best as needed to be. She's new to dancing and the whole idol, so it was a good start, but there was room for improvement. Next group being Pink Venom. If I had to do a tie, it would be Megan and Daniela. I think they both did really good jobs. They had really great moments. They really sold it. Third would be Adela. Adela was fine. Adela, to me, did a really good job. I don't think that this is her style of dance and performance. So I don't think she really vibed with it as much, but I think the dancing was solid. Ua, it's just a presence thing that I think she just needed to work on. If I had to eliminate two people, it would be like Minari and Manon. Mission 2, Group A, Anti-Fragile. Again, I think Yoonchae did the best in her group. I think she really understood how to perform K-pop. She understands what to do. I think her vocals were solid. It was a little too much winking for my liking, but that's the thing in K-pop. Second was Emily. Yeah, she's not the best vocalist, but the parts that she was given, she executed very well. Laura, I liked what Laura did. My thing with Laura, again, it was very clear that Laura, as talented as a vocalist she is, singing and dancing is a whole new beast. For this being the first time that she does it, I think she really did a good job. So work. My bottom here is Sophia. Sophia, I'm less forgiving of her not being able to sing and dance at the same time, only because she does have a musical theater background, and a huge part of musical theater is being able to execute choreography and delivering a vocal performance at the same time. And it's very clear that she struggled with the actual transitioning of some, which again is going to be a recurring thing with her. But I was a little bit disappointed what Sophia gave. Anti-Fragile Group B, Megan. I think Megan, the high heel shoes ballet leg up moment, I think was really great. Her vocals were solid. Her vocals were straight. Second, Samara. I think Samara did a really good job. Really great vocals. This is also her first time singing and dancing at the same time. I think she did a really good job. She had that really nice run at the climax. I enjoyed it. Really great stage presence. Really understood how to deliver the song. Third is Ilya. I think Ilya did a really good job. Singing and dancing is not her thing. Also, I don't think the song choice was her thing. So, I mean, I'm not mad at it, but I'm also like, again, she could have done better, but she wasn't the worst. Unfortunately, that was Carly. I think Carly, she has such a heavy voice. I don't think she was able to handle those transitions really well. It was very choppy and it wasn't much to the performance. She read a little bit uncomfortable, so I would definitely rank her last. Fearless, Group A. Love Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn did a really good job. Brooklyn's not the best dancer, but Brooklyn knows how to perform. And it was very clear that she was able to perform and really sell it. Second, Lexi. I think Lexi did a really good job. I think Lexi really knows how to connect to camera. She has a really good stage presence. Again, her vocals, cute. It worked. Third was Nayeon. Nayeon didn't have a lot of parts, but Nayeon, not being a strong dancer, the fact that she was able to execute everything as cleanly as possible, I think that was really dope. And for the moments that she was singing, she really stood out and really delivered her lines. Marquis only had one line. Marquis, I think, has a lot of stage presence, but I think in this moment, Marquis was really struggling with confidence. And I think that's something that is going to be the thing that hinders from really getting into the group. It's a lot of natural charisma, but I don't think she knows how to harness it. Last is May. She was very fish out of water. Again, she's more cutesy, so I think this sort of darker, more girl crush concept is something that she wasn't comfortable with it. Group B, I think, let's be honest, I think Daniela pretty much carried that whole group. She's pretty much number one and everyone's a few notches below her. Second, Manon did a really good job. She didn't have much rehearsal time. She was able to connect to the camera. Yeah, she had that first crack, but everything else, vocally, she did fine. Azrella, very cute girl. She's third. I think she, again, delivered everything how she needed to do it. She connected to the camera. She's more cutesy, but I think I was fine with how she performed the song. Celeste, beautiful girl, but I don't think Celeste really connected to the camera as well as she needed to. She also didn't really have as many lines, so she really needed to connect to the camera, but she really didn't take those moments. Last is Yua. Yua is so cute, but I think it's just, again, she's so young. I feel like she hasn't stepped into her fierceness, and it wasn't as great as I think it needed to be. If I had to eliminate people in this round, it would have been Sophia, Cardi, May, and Yua.
Let's talk about mission 3, which was the final mission of the show.
So mission 3 is where they had to perform iconic songs from female artists, which honestly, I don't get why they were all not girl groups. Like, I don't know why Demi Lovato was there. First, let's go with my least favorite song, which is Confident. I didn't like the number only because I didn't understand why those hoodies were there. Like, it just felt very...
You don't like the outfit review?
I didn't like it only because you had those devil hoodies, but then you turn them inside out and there were these floral appliques. It just didn't make sense with the whole confident thing.
It almost felt kind of like fighting your inner demons to come out and bloom on the other side as your true self. That said, I almost feel like they tried to kind of like force a sort of, I feel like more of a Little Mix
vibe-esque,
kind of vibe, but with like a K-pop story. And I don't think it landed or even took off as it was supposed to. I think they should have just stuck to like pretty much what they were training to do, which was cover groups. I'm not sure, unless there was some kind of interesting contract that was written there, some kind of deal worked out. It's just like, it felt a little out of place.
I definitely think Laura was the best here. This is Laura's wheelhouse, being fierce, being confident. Again, her vocals were great. I didn't like the end where they were doing these high-pitched belts. It was a little shouty for my liking. But again, I think Laura was best. Second to me was Yoonchae. Yoonchae proved throughout the series of the show that she's a lot more versatile than I think we realize. I think Yoonchae on first notice, you think just cute, but Yoonchae is able to give more versatility. And again, her vocals were surprisingly very good. Yoonchae is not a lead or main, but she's a really strong sub-vocalist that I think can improve over time. She's only 16, so she could definitely improve. Third to me was Megan. She dances really well, but I don't know if this fierce concept is for her. I think she does very beautiful, very soft well, sexy even, which I feel because she was 17 at the time. I don't think she really believed herself as a badass, and this is a song that you're meant to be a badass. Marquis was last only because Marquis, again, natural stage presence, but again, I don't think this badass concept is for her.
Even in other, like, aspects of the show, I just don't feel like she has that, like, bold presence that's needed for what they're trying to go for.
She's more demure.
Very.
More mindful.
Very cutesy. And she's such a beautiful girl. Like, I think she was one of my favorites throughout the competition.
I didn't think she needed like a brown. The red I would not have done.
Or even, and this is actually something I'm thinking about it. No, I don't think I've really seen it in K-pop. I think she would have looked good with a nice brunette balayage.
Again, Marquis, beautiful girl, good job, but it's just the presence wasn't there.
Let's move on and talk about the girls covering the Spice Girls wannabe.
Samara was the best. I think it suited her. Yeah, I think she carried the group. I think this is where she proved that she can be a center, be a lead vocalist. I enjoyed what she did. Second was Ezrella. I thought Ezrella was really cute. I think this is in her wheelhouse. I loved her long dramatic ponytail that they clipped in.
Yeah, when I saw this performance, I was like, I see what fans see in Ezrella. She voiced how she felt a little slighted that India was seeming to rally behind Laura and not so much her. And I think it's because she presents differently than Laura. Laura is a lot more confident, a lot more
cultural also.
A lot more bold. And then you have Ezrella, who's a little bit more reserved. But I honestly really liked her in this performance. I feel so bad that unfortunately she didn't make it to the end. But she was my favorite from this performance, as well as Emily.
Most of her parts were like almost like a rap delivery or a spoken delivery. And so that worked with her. I mean, let's be honest, I don't think Emily's vocal ability has gotten better, but she was serving Britney Spears Does the Spice Girls, and I was completely fine with that.
So, fun fact about me, I feel like I'm just dropping truth bombs at this point. But when I was a kid, I actually auditioned to be in a Spice Girls commercial, and I didn't get in because I was too young. And I auditioned as Scary Spice. Who knew I'd be here today using it? I honestly think that at some point in the future, if Emily and Israela were to be in another group, I could see them in a group together with like more of like almost, and my goodness, I'm going to say it, but more of an islet concept. Where it's like, like I see them in that kind of like cutesy, like this KATSEYE group is K-pop without the K but I feel like if we were going to go K-pop and like Vicha route, Israela and Emily would do great in that concept.
Especially because Ezrela actually speaks Korean, along with other languages.
Yeah, she speaks 4 languages.
I think you could do a lot with Ezrela and Emily. I agree with Angel with this idea. That is actually something I mentioned to Lee while we were watching the show. I was like, I can actually see them together. So if Hybe does choose to create another girl group, I think they should reach out to them. They're young.
Well, before we press too many buttons here with our opinions, let's go into the final one, buttons. I do appreciate that they gave this to the 18 and up members. However, I feel like this is giving much like the bad girls at school after class in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I feel like we could have gone a nightclub vibe, or maybe like, you know, I'm going to show you how bad I can be. Alita Kelly Clarkson-esque, like I'm performing on a stage and I can outperform you any day kind of vibe, as opposed to this like, I just got off school and I'm in the parking lot.
You know what it's actually giving? It's giving girlicious. Stupid shit.
Yeah.
Yes. Who did you think was the best in this group?
I'd say Daniela.
I actually thought Sophia did really good. This is when I was like, oh, I see the Sophia magic here. Third is definitely Nayeon, only because she was able to give the Melody Thornton vocal runs, which is a huge part of the song. She's not the best dancer, but overall, I thought it was a really nice job.
Manon was able to give a lot through face and shoulder, and a good 8.1.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, truly though, and that's what they've been saying the whole time is that star power. It's like, was it a little stiffer than, let's say, Sophia? Yeah, but like, she could give that side eye. Shoulder, you know, that like that wink and nudge, as they like to say. And I also just want to quickly say with Sophia, that hairstylist, jail. How dare you give this woman, like you could, like everyone else.
A ponytail?
Like, yeah, everyone else has a little hair to move around, a little hair in their face. She just looks like she got out of a 10-hour rehearsal with a slick back ponytail. How dare you?
Celeste's voice, I don't think worked for it. She has such a high pitch voice. I would have put her in Wannabe.
I think for me, throughout the show, Celeste kept fading into the background.
Because I think out of everyone, Celeste's weaknesses were emphasized constantly. Like, I don't think we ever got someone saying good job to her. It was very much like, you're not singing well.
So the final members that made the lineup, we have Sophia. She was in first place. Then we had Laura, Daniela, Yoonchae, Megan, and in sixth place, Manon. How do we feel about this?
They look very pretty together.
They look like a cohesive group.
I mean, watching the show, this would not be my lineup, but I see how they got here. Everything's checked off. They have at least 2 really good dancers. They have 2 good vocalists. And you have 2 really great personalities.
But I think that everyone's personality really meshes well with each other. And I think that's what makes KATSEYE unique, or is really propelling them to stardom in comparison to other groups that have tried to launch themselves into the K-pop market. I think that KATSEYE knows exactly how to speak to their fans. You see it through the way they promote on TikTok, as well as how they interact with fans. And I think that's the most important part about K-pop. Knowing how to interact with your fans, knowing how to connect with your fan base so that you can have them be excited for your music. So who would you say is your bias in KATSEYE?
Laura?
Mm-hmm.
I think we all agree.
For me, it's Laura with the bias factor of Megan. Because I follow them on TikTok, and when it comes to social media, Megan has that social media down to a T.
I think I'm going to go for Yoonchae as a bias because I think that looking at their performances, she's the one that captures my attention the most.
My bias record would probably be Daniela. There's something about her that I just like.
So they actually had their debut performance at KCON's LA's pre-show with Touch back in July. What do we think of the song and them performing at KCON?
I mean, it made sense. They have a Korean member. They're a high global group. It made sense for them to be there. And they actually did a really good job. It was nice.
Once again, please get yourself a custom tailor, a better stylist. I am sick and tired of these outfits that just look like you took them off the rack, added a couple rhinestones, put some tights under, and said, go on stage. And this is one of the things, the reason why at the top I said where when it comes to costuming, especially JYP, they know how to tap into a good stylist and some custom looks. Now, not all the time, but we're talking in terms of proportions, okay? 9 times out of 10, you will see a JYP artist on stage looking like a cohesive group. Whereas with them, is the black and the red cohesive? Yes. But it's like for your debut performance, with all the investment that was made in their development, and, you know, they want to say, oh, this is a big investment for us, this is a big investment. Okay, put that same investment into costuming.
Fashion Nova worked very hard setting those outfits. How dare you?
We have to give props to whoever's idea it was for these girls to have their first stage at KCON LA because, again, I think it's just the perfect place for them to connect with actual fans of K-pop music. Like, I know they're more of a global girl group, but again, they did train and model themselves after the K-pop training system. So it's kind of cool that they can sort of navigate through these spaces. You know, they can exist in the musical global landscape as well as in K-pop concerts.
And I would actually say Touch is a better debut song than Debut. I think they do these very girly, feminine, better than I think this sort of girl crushy vibe that they tried to do. It was, even though I feel like Debut was a little bit more girl crush, it was still feminine, but and like girly, but I don't think that all of them sold it really well.
Debut kind of marketed almost as more of like a debut / pre-debut track of like, they have technically been formed as a group, but this isn't like the song. But in that same breath, Debut was thrown out and Touch was thrown out as sort of test the waters tracks to kind of see the future trajectory of this group. Because again, a lot of the stuff was rushed. So maybe they were like, oh, well, we want this powerful group. But then K-pop has a lot of elements. And yes, there's plenty of girl crushing K-pop, but there's also that soft, bubbly element. So they were probably going into this going, let's launch these 2 tracks, whichever concept works better. That's the one we're probably going to move forward with. So I think we're going to see more of that Touch vibe going forward. Maybe throw in like a Debut in a few months when they get some more like, you know, samples in. But I think that this is more of like, let's see what the audience responds to.
And Debut was the official theme song of their reality TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Touching on Debut a little bit, I know when I first heard it, I just said, this is such Blackpink song. Like the beginning, the way it started, it was giving Blackpink. And I thought that was interesting because throughout the show, they kept referencing Blackpink. And I kind of thought that was shady, knowing the history that HYBE has, especially HYBE fandoms don't really like Blackpink because they got this sort of competition going on between them. But I think this emphasizes that Blackpink is the biggest girl group in K-pop.
And also, they were trained as a collective for 4 years. Mm-hmm. Even though members fell off throughout the process, those 4 knew each other 4 years ago and some before that.
It's crazy that they chose, because I'm like, don't you have other girl groups? Because in my head, I was like, Blackpink is still not your girl group. Like, all the male artists being featured are HYBE artists. I think it's crazy where it's like, you could have just put New Jeans and LE SSERAFIM up there. It just didn't feel right to have Blackpink in that montage.
So let's talk about Touch. Some people didn't like the fact that the song was too short. And other people said that it just sounds too alike to another song that HYBE released, which was Illit's Magnetic.
You.
Just because it's a repeating word doesn't make it the same. Could you argue that if Illit did Touch, it would be in line with their discography? Yes. But like, I feel like Touch has a bit of a different color to it once you get to the verses. albeit very short, but like it has a little more of a like high school wondering, like, oh, you've been so out of touch.
Well, touch gives, if Islet went from a storybook fairy tale to a Winx Club episode.
Yeah.
And they're pumping through the human world going shopping. Like, that's what it's giving. It feels like a ringtone.
Well, as Pink Panthers once declared, a song doesn't need to be longer than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We don't need to repeat a verse. We don't need to have a bridge. We don't need it. We don't need a long outro.
I wish it had at least a bridge. Like, I'm fine with keeping the verses and pre-chorus.
Oh, it's 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
Oh, never mind. But, like, for me, I wish it had, like, at least, like, a minute bridge. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't know why we're in this era of K-pop where it's just, like, short songs.
I will say it's catchy.
I mean, yes. I mean, there's no way that they're singing that chorus live, though, in terms of, like, the touch part. They're obviously lip-syncing that part.
Well, on stage, you can actually hear, I want to say it's Megan. There was a stage that they did recently where, like, you can hear a real vocal going touch, not for each one, but one of the members does do touch.
No, yeah, no, I'm
like
saying
live.
like Yoon and Manon is not doing that touch because like they're breathing, like it would be a lot of.
Talking about live performances, they actually had their first ever performance in Korea recently on September 12th on Mnet Countdown. And they've ever since have been promoting in Korea. What do we think of their stages for debut in Touch?
Expensive. Someone's writing a check and they are definitely doing what they need to do.
They definitely have a budget for production.
I will say as a whole, the performance is good across. I think definitely the girls have put the post-debut work in. I wish they would have done it before, but this is their first promotion and I feel like everything is a good starting point. I hope it just gets better from here.
And here's the moment when we can redeem ourselves to Manon fans who are fighting us in the comment section. She did a really great job. I'm actually really impressed by her progress. I think that unfortunately we didn't see the greatest side to her in that documentary, but I think she's definitely putting in the work and I'm excited to see her progress as a star. Like, she definitely has that charisma. We can't help but just stare at her because she's just so beautiful. And the only reason we were being hard on her during part 1 of this episode was because, we see the potential in her and we want her to do good. And, I think sometimes people take criticism as a personal attack when in actuality, what it is that it's helping you to actually improve, like I'm sure we've all gotten feedback in our own jobs. That's just part of being an adult, getting feedback and improving. So I'm actually really, really proud of what she's been able to do so far. And as for the other girls, I did notice that Laura didn't have as much energy as she had during the competition show. And I am wondering whether or not that has to do with her just being tired and jet lagged, or it's just, the pressure of being an idol, of having these insane long schedules when you're promoting, and that's probably going to be really hard for them to adjust because, as we all know, these promotion schedules can be quite grueling and you don't really get paid much to appear in these music shows. So I hope that these girls can take a break after this and just, take some time to really reflect on everything that's happening. Because, success and fame is very fleeting. There's that famous saying that people like to say, you only get 15 minutes. And I don't think that they're going to stay a one-hit wonder. I definitely know that they're capable of more than just that. So again, I just wanted to pipe in and just give the girls some applauses because, yes, we can be quite shady, but we also have to celebrate when work is done. And Manon has put in the work. So in closing, what do we think? Do we think that groups like these should be allowed to promote in Korea and compete in the K-pop category?
I mean, it is a high co-collaborated group. So, like, K-pop has a strong hand in it.
XG, they promote in Korea and they are not Korean and their songs in English. But I do think that, they're a group that is rooted in homage to K-pop. I'm fine with groups promoting as long as at least, the music is good.
I just want to say stan KATSEYE because, like, their hard work is showing up on stage and is showing up in how they engage with fans and, like, they're putting in that work.
Another perfect example that I recently saw on social media was that Laura was DJing with her sister at an event and a lot of KATSEYE fans were in attendance. And I think that was such a great idea because not only do you get to interact with your fans, but it's just nice to have that human interaction with your favorite star. And I think that if they continue on in the same line, promoting themselves and really pushing who they are to their fans, that they'll have immense success.
And I think at the end of the day, it was the adults around the girls that did the fuckery, not them. And so I think, as we said earlier or in a previous episode, let grown people do grown things and leave the children out of it.
With that being said, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to this very long episode. We also want to congratulate KATSEYE on their debut. As longtime fans of K-pop, we are rooting for you girls. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to rate us on Spotify and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want to see bonus videos of fun K-pop events you can attend in New York City, be sure to follow us on TikTok. We are the K-pop Bible. Until next time.